don't even know if I should make an introduction after what you said. 100 contests. Come on now, dude. Seriously. I was aware of 50 of them. 100 contests. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah, I did 12 as an amateur, and the rest have been professional.
Oh, damn. Well, after you got your pro card.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, I got my pro card. Let's see, about 2 years after my first contest. I did just it was Texas Strongest Man, just a quote unquote local competition. Okay. That was August 2nd, 2002. And then October of 2004, I won U.S. Nationals, got my pro card.
Okay. You killed it. So I'm just going to correct, while you're talking, I'm listening, by the way. I'm trying to find where I mentioned 50 contests so I can, correct that. But, okay, let's start. We're here with Travis Ortmayer, legendary strongman. You've done some powerlifting too, right?
2 powerlifting meets.
You're still
official
ass,
powerlifting meets.
Yeah. I don't even know why I lift sometimes, but anyway. So I'm gonna start with some of your achievements. I hope I did okay. Now, after you said 100 contests, I mean, I'm fucking disarmed, but I'm gonna try and correct me at any point if I'm wrong. Okay, so I got the first one right here. Made it back to the World's Strongest Man qualifiers after 11 years in 2021, which stood as a record for a long time. You know, the absence.
Yeah, it was a 10-year gap between appearances.
Damn.
It was, I think, unheard of. Well, yeah, it was unheard of because it was a record at the time. My goal is to improve upon that. I want to get back to Worlds, and then I want to make it to the finals. Yeah. So that'll probably be pushing, I don't know, a 14-year gap between finals appearances.
That's insane. Okay. I got 25 records set on Atlas Stones events. Is that true?
So that's kind of a mix. 25 world records is a mix of mostly Atlas Stones.
Okay.
I had the axle world record for about 5 minutes. I've had the circus dumbbell at...
Clean and press.
Yeah, axle clean and press single, max.
Okay.
And then I've had a circus dumbbell world record twice. At the Arnold, they did 242 for 3 reps, which again stood as a record for a few minutes. And then both times for the axle and the circus dumbbell, Derek Poundstone came behind me and broke that record.
Yeah, we don't like Derek. I'm kidding. I'm a big fan of his too, by the way.
I've had a stone carry world record. I've had a tire flip world record. I don't remember the exact time. It was 400 kilos for...
Jesus Christ, seriously.
I believe it was like 80 feet. High 20 seconds. So it was on a Guinness World Record show in Japan.
This is exactly...
2009.
I'm sorry. I think it's the time. I need to stop rushing because I think there's a tiny delay. So I'm going to have to stop spazzing and let you finish your sentences. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, no worries, man.
Okay. So I got the third, not question, but it says, first man to load a 500-pound stone nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's true. Yeah, 500-pound. It was a 520-pound Atlas stone.
I deadlifted 500 pounds for 6 reps last year. Thanks a lot, Travis. That's amazing, dude. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Anyway.
Well, I just did 500 pounds, 515 yesterday for a set of 5. But I'm 10 weeks post hip replacement.
Well, obviously, I mean, you're like fucking 65%. So yeah, keep quick rubbing it in. Doesn't help.
I'll tell you this, man. 500 pounds last year felt like a ton of bricks. But now that I got 2 legs that are working, it felt so good yesterday to do that workout. I cannot explain how good it feels.
Yeah.
when you feel like your power is back. You feel like your body's working the way it should.
I understand.
It's amazing, man. I'm so grateful that everything's working again.
It must be nice to just feel like muscle fatigue instead of my body's killing me, including the muscle, the struggle. I live like
Yes.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that more.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's see. I got entered the Guinness Book of Records for lifting 5 atlas stones to about 1.5 meters height, if I'm not mistaken. In under
I was like 1.2 or 1.3.
Okay, well, in under 16 seconds in 2011.
Yeah.
What I couldn't find was the weights. I just couldn't find that. I couldn't find it.
It was 120 kilos to 180 kilos.
16 seconds? Okay. All right, let's see. Qualified for the World's Strongest Man 5 times, made it to the finals 3 consecutive times, with 5th place in all 3 contests.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane,
That's right.
by the way. I'm just letting you know. In case you didn't know. And which contest was it when? Because I was watching that shit. I generally was. Which contest was when you had when your ankle caved in and you still finished the contest? I thought that's fucking insane, dude.
That was 2010. I broke my ankle on the 3rd event on the log press. My foot got caught in between a couple of mats, and I couldn't get my foot under me in time.
Seriously.
Just a split second hang up, and then yeah. But that was the 3rd time that I took 5th. I was in 1st place at the time, and I had to hold on for everything that I could after that event, and I still ended up 5th. And
can you imagine, though, seriously, with again 1 leg? How do you manage to have like 1 leg, like often? How do you do that, dude?
Fair point, man.
It's crazy.
It's a fair point.
Because one would think, as a fan, because I've played around with equipment. I've never done it at your level. One would think that this would happen in like during a carrying event, like a frame carry. You know what I mean? Like, so because you're the running and the impact, and then it was just a freak accident. What a shame. I mean, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because my best 3 events were the next day.
No.
So I was in the lead, and my better events were the 2nd day. So it was really heartbreaking.
I can only imagine at your level that must be truly heartbreaking. Let's see, 9 podium finishes in the Strongman Champions League, 3 times champion, 3 times 1st place.
That sounds right. Probably right. I may have been on the podium a couple more times than that.
Okay.
I haven't kept track of podium finishes. I've probably been on the podium more times than 9. Damn. But I've won. So before it was Champions League, it was called like United Strongman Series. I won one of those, and then an IFSA Grand Prix, a couple IFSA Grand Prix, and then it became Champions League in 2006 or 7.
Okay.
And then I've won either 3 or 4 of those.
So it's more than that. Okay. Well,
so it might be 3. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know I won in Holland. I won a couple of years ago in Portugal. I won in Turkey.
Yeah,
and I won.
You killed him in Turkey. Because there's the highlights online.
Yeah, Turkey was a good one.
I was able to watch it. It was good. It was good. I was so happy for you. I was so happy for you to see you up there again. It was just, there's people that
I appreciate that.
There's people. I think I have this ability to. I mean, you meet a person and you're thinking, okay, that's an asshole. Like they don't really need to say much. There's people who are just more approachable, and there's people that you connect with. And of course, I've got to be honest though. The boys in Iceland have said a lot of good things about you. Bruno, you remember the big guy, Bruno?
Oh yeah.
Fucking maniac, yeah. My God, I got stories. 8 years he was around. Man, he smacked me a few times. My God, almost killed me. I told seriously, he smacks me once. I don't want to trail off, but dude, he smacks me. He gives me that, like old Western, like spaghetti Western double slap. a couple of times because I wanted to hit the one of my first three plates bench, 308 whatever. So I laid down and my whole body, I'm freaking out. I'm like, fuck, I thought I was getting beat up. And as soon as I think he was pissed at me because he trained somebody, I was like, hey, can you spot me? Can you spot me? So eventually he's like, hey, can nobody else spot you? And I was like, oh, it's only me. I was, in my mind, I was that much smaller. And I laid down, he goes double whap. And I almost passed out. I was like, fucking hell. I took the three plates. He was like, see, that was easy. Oh, hits me in the back. I traveled like another 30 feet. I was like, hey, he's a character. But he said a lot of good things about you.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. I like all those guys.
Yeah, Magnus too. Magnus appreciates you. Magnus was talking to me about you. Poundstone, obviously Pujanowski, but Bruno. Obviously I wasn't there, but I think you developed a friendship with these guys. He was there for over a decade. I think just helping around, wasn't he? Over a decade, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Long fucking time.
Yeah.
And he was always come back with stories. He was always like, with his, accents at Ortmayer, oh my god. I was like, oh, what did he do now? He keeps hitting his head on things. I was like, like head bang. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's intense. Yeah, he really said that shit. I don't know if he will ever watch this, but he can back that up for sure. Podium finish. Okay, I got 3 podium finishes in America's Strongest Man champion in 2011. Did I already say that? No, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't say that.
So on that one, I feel like I've won it twice.
Okay.
Even though the record won't show it, because in 2010, it was America's Strongest Man until the week of. And then Dion changed the name because the Olympia wanted the title America's Strongest Man. So we trained for America's Strongest Man. We were going to America's Strongest Man.
Okay.
And then she said, oh, this is going to be U.S. Nationals. America's Strongest Man is going to be at the Olympia. Okay. No, that's still America's Strongest Man. I don't care what anybody says. I won it in 2010 and I won it in 2011.
I'm literally going to correct that, so, so I will not get my ass kicked eventually. 2010. See? Right there. Okay, I got 2009 Giants Life Viking Power Challenge champion. And second place in 2008 between Derek Poundstone and Brian Shaw. That's big. That's really big.
What was 2008?
2008 was second place between Poundstone and Brian. Brian was third, I think. Wasn't he?
I'm trying to remember which contest. Was that a Giants Live?
Oh yeah, I didn't write down the title of it.
Because it was actually, if it was Madison Square Garden, I won that one. I beat Poundstone.
Oh, that's a different. I think that's. Oh man, that's a different one. I was reading about that. I swear, like 2 hours ago.
Oh,
but that's a different one.
It was Mohegan
You've done so
Sun.
much shit. You're not helping. I mean, come
It
on.
was probably Mohegan Sun.
Yes, that was Mohegan Sun where he won it. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That was.
Yeah, that's right. That was at the end of 5 competitions in a row.
5.
Back to back weekends. That was a long month.
Okay, so you won the Viking Challenge 2009. Okay, so I'm kind of ending so we could get to the actual questions. It says, so I said, in the end, I wrote, competed against great athletes such as, long list, be patient, Mariusz Pujanowski, Sebastian Venta, who I think is overlooked. I think people don't really understand how
he was tough. Well, he was
period of time.
Second tier to Yarrick and Marius.
Yeah, exactly. Derek Poundstone, Dave Ostland, Terry Hollins, Phil Pfister, won at 806, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Mark Henry, Sven Carlson, Andy Bolton, Zydrunas, obviously, Brian Shaw, Mikael Goklev, who I know he's your boy. You're good friends with him, I know.
Oh, yeah, we competed a lot together.
Oh, he's a fucking animal, that dude. What the fuck with the Russians?
Yeah.
Man? Seriously.
Yeah.
Why was I born in the middle?
He's the most insanely talented individual I've ever met in my life. He's great with music. He can do these dances and this coordination and these things, and then he can snatch 500 or clean and jerk 500 pounds. Like,
very successful athlete.
What the hell? He can sing, play the piano, play the accordion. He picks up the guitar, he's playing with it.
Really, really strong. I think everything that he did, he was really good at. Powerlifting, strongman, Olympic lifting. What a background! I mean,
Well, he has the world record super total: squat, bench, deadlift, snatch, clean and jerk. He's beat Mark Henry by a few pounds.
Fuck. Yeah, Mark was an animal in his day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Got a few more names. I got Nick Best after Koklaev. Nick Best, Jesse Marundi, R.I.P. Actually, what a sad story. Mark Philippi, who was also probably not. These are. I mean, I'm your age, so I guess kids of today will probably not know who Mark Philippi is. He's also pretty.
Yeah, he's a former America's Strongest Man.
He had a huge deadlift back then. He always reminded me of. I can't believe I forgot the dude's name. I cannot believe it. I'll be back with it. I got Philippi, because he's got the build, and he was a pretty big. Oh, dude, what's his name? About 6'4". He's in his 40s today. He was American strongman. He was killing it until recently. I can't believe his son is also training with him. I mean, I'm in shock with myself right now.
Jerry Pritchett.
Jerry Pritchett, thank you. That's him. Philippi might be a little shorter.
His son's gonna be a monster.
Yes. No escape really with those genetics. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, it's terrifying.
I got Philippi, I got Lawrence Shelley, among others. I think I mentioned quite a few.
Oh yeah. I mean, all of the guys. Raymond Bergmanis, Sidrunas.
Yes, there you go.
Magnus Samuelson. I got to go with Magnus Samuelson. He was kind of my hero because he was the king of stones. And in 2005, at the IFSO World Championships, this was what we did before World's Strongest Man for 3 years.
Didn't they? They kind of merged.
They did. After in 2008, it all came back together. Okay. Yeah, they split in 04 and came back together in 08. But Magnus was the king of stones, and my mom, I couldn't believe, but my mom actually said this. But we're at the World Championships. Yeah. It's in Canada. And it's the night before the competition starts, and Phil Pfister, the other top stone guy, and Magnus Samuelson are discussing at the hotel bar who's going to win the stones. Oh, are you going to win it? Oh, you're going to win it. And he's, oh, no, you're going to win it. Oh, you're probably going to blah, 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 blah. My mom walked over to them, taps him on the shoulder, and says, "Excuse me, but my son is going to win the stones."
How can you argue that? Going, you're not going to argue with a mom,
This is my first year at Worlds, and I'm like, "What are you doing, Mom? What are you doing?" But then the day came, and I went directly in front of Magnus, and then Pfister was a couple behind him. Yeah. But I won the stones. She was right, man. I proved her right.
Mother's intuition, right? She knew, right?
I had to at that point. I had to. Like,
she put you on the spotlight. Yeah, she totally put you on the spotlight. There, go there in the middle.
Completely.
Raise your hand.
But it worked out. I took the title of King of Stones. I held on to it for like the next 5 years.
I can't believe I
forgot. But Magnus and I became pretty good friends. I like him a lot.
With Magnus Samuelson was a fuck. He still is huge. No, we're talking about the Swede.
Dude, he's jacked.
Yeah, he's huge. He's a fucking animal. He closed I think there's a video of him early 2000s where he's closing the Captains of Crush #4 like a fucking marshmallow. And I'm like, I can probably chest crush it, but that's max effort for me. I need to rest after that. You know what I mean?
It's the best I could do. That was the best I could do is 2 hands.
What the fuck?
And close it.
He's amazing. How could I forget? Thank you for reminding me of that, by the way. Okay, last one. Before we get to some of your numbers, I got your numbers here too. Born in August 9th, 1981, and I was born June 9th, 1981. How's that?
Nice. It's almost your birthday. Well, we got a couple months.
2 months. Respect your elders, please. So, and then I got just a few numbers. The ones I was able to find, because I'm sure training all this time, you've probably smashed a lot of fucking weight. So you've done 870-pound deadlift, 395 kg. You did that quite a long time ago, didn't you?
So that was Madison Square Garden, and that was powerlifting rules. You know, no hitching, no straps, no. It was just raw grip.
Yeah.
I have since pulled 882. I pulled 400 kilos in a medley a couple years ago.
Okay.
It was on. It was a misload. It was supposed to be 805, but they had kilo plates, hundreds plates. So somebody screwed up and had an extra like 65 pounds on it, and it was on a piece of plywood on a dirt track. So it was an awful setup. But it was the first part of a medley, and so I pulled it, not realizing how heavy it was.
Adrenaline, yeah, I get it.
And my cousin came up to me later. He's like, "Hey, I counted up the weight on there. That's 880. That's 880 pounds there. I don't know what they were thinking, but
they were.
So I got my 400 kilos.
I mean, that's insane. I've managed to find an old footage of your 409 pound. That must be about 185 kg, right? Just over 4 plates. Your axle cleanup press, right? Am I right? 409?
That was the world record that I had for a minute.
How does that feel when it's crushing your chest? And I've done like 250, and I thought I was gonna die, but not fucking 400.
You know, at that point, my axle was really good, like the clean, and I had a solid, really good rack position on my shoulders. It felt good. I tried 414 right after, and it was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's exactly what I tell the guys at the gym. It's usually the people who don't really push. I mean, exercising to me is not really training. You know what I mean? I'm not an elitist prick. Not at all, but. Yeah. But because so many times I had people spot me, they're like, hey, I'm just saying, you're like 330 for like a triple, which is kind of heavy for me. And they're like, oh, you got more. And my eyes are fucking popping out. My brain is melting inside my head. And they're like, yeah, just add 5 kg. And I'm thinking, not being ironic, but I'm thinking, you realize I have to lift the 330 again, plus the 12 pounds. And then they're like, oh yeah, shit. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to do the set again. It's not like I press 12 pounds and then I got the PR. And then they're like, oh yeah, shit. I said, I don't think you understand, exhaustion with heavy lifting. I mean, it's very
with heavyweight.
interesting.
Yeah.
Want to get to the questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think I got something. I'm sorry, I'm just some bullshit. Okay. I've killed all the notifications, like phone calls, messages, Facebook, Instagram, fucking WhatsApp. Everything is dead, and I think just Instagram just popped a little story up there. But anyway, that's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. First of all, how are things going after your hip replacement?
Do fantastic. Yesterday was exactly 3 months. So I think I'm like 12 weeks post surgery. And yesterday, like I could feel the power back in my legs. I was accelerating with, 515 pounds, like 235 kilos roughly.
Yeah.
It felt so good. The week before I did 585, which is I think 270.
265, I think. Yeah.
Is that okay? But it felt good, man. It felt, they were touch and go reps, but the first one was easy, and I was scared. I'm gonna be honest, man. I was scared to do it because every time I've done some lower body since the surgery, and I've scaled it up each week, but my back has been strained. Okay. And it's because I think everything's kind of shifting back over. I'm not right side dominant. It's all kind of balancing out.
Compensation, I'm guessing, for the imbalances or whatever.
Yeah. And so I pulled that first rep at 265, 270, and it just felt good. So I thought, okay, while I'm here, I'm going to get a big brace and then just do a touch and go and take it easy. And I got 3 reps with it. That's and insane. I haven't pulled 3 reps at 585 comfortably in over 2 years. So it felt really good, man. And my back didn't even hurt. that's the main thing, is my back didn't hurt. Nice. So it's like I'm on the right track, man. I'm getting good.
You're only going up from now on. It's only up.
That's exactly it, man.
Okay. All right. I'm aware that that's the second one. I'm aware that your father, was it Roger Ortmayer? I can't remember his name.
Roger. That's it.
I'm aware that your father trained with you for years. Tell us a little bit about him, like the things what did he train in and stuff like that.
So he was 56 when he started working out with me in the gym, and then he was 58, and I did that Texas Strongest Man in 2002. I came home, I said, "Yo, Pops, you got to try this shit." And and he wasn't keen on the idea at first, but I got him to do it, and he fell in love with it like I did. And at the time they had a Masters division, but it was just 40 and over. And then people saw him competing as a 60-year-old man. Yeah. And I think he inspired so many people that they created the over 50 and then eventually the over 60 category because of him. Yeah, and then he won 6 national titles, national championships, as over 50 and over 60. What the which he loves to remind me about, because I only have 3 titles, but
he rubs it in. Doesn't he? All right.
But
okay. Sorry.
I think his best deadlift was around 225 kilos, so just a hair under 500. He never actually broke past 500.
At what age?
65 probably.
What?
65, 64. Yeah.
That's
but he was really good with things like farmer's walk and moving events, truck pulls. He was really good at truck pull. But he's smaller than me. He's a couple inches shorter, and I think his top body weight was around 95 kilos. So he's always in the lightweight division.
Yeah. That's about 215, isn't it? Or
250, exactly.
Yeah.
210 to 215 is where he stood.
225 kg, that's nearly 500 pounds at 65. That is insane, dude. Insane, seriously.
Yeah.
Like most people training in powerlifting or strong are trying to will never deadlift 5 plates. I mean, realistically speaking, most.
Well, I think a lot of it was just the people that we trained with. You didn't really have an option but to be strong. The people that we trained with, when we went to the gym, one of the other guys that trained there he became the IPF 125 kilo world champion in 2007. So we had that guy, and then there was me and him, and then at the unit, which is where we trained all the strongman events. It's not a clever name. It's just a storage unit.
I know.
It was. We had 3 World's Strongest Man athletes.
Yeah.
3 guys who made it to World's Strongest Man: me, Josh Thigpen, and Marshall White.
Okay.
And then 2 guys who were alternates for World's Strongest Man.
Okay.
One would have gone, but he tore his pec, and the other guy was an alternate. They just didn't have anybody drop out that year.
Okay. And
then a host of other amateurs who were just really good. So, I mean, it was just a savage crew to train with.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It pushed everybody to be better.
Imagine if 5 plates.
When I say savage,
to him, he's like, I gotta fucking do it. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And when I say you didn't really have a choice, but to be a savage as well. Just as an example of who we trained with, we had a guy who had a heart attack. He had like a quadruple bypass.
Oh, man.
And then 6 or 8 weeks later, he comes out and he wants to do Atlas stones. So we put a piece of duct tape over the fresh scar so that he could load Atlas stones without ripping it open.
Yeah, okay. No bullshit.
Just nuts, man. Nuts.
Yeah, I get it. There's no way normal people could understand what you're saying. There's no way. I mean, you really have to want.
Yeah, it's just when you love something like that so much,
exactly.
You're willing to do whatever, and you start pushing the limits of what you think the human body can do.
I agree, absolutely do. Let's see, father. Okay. Next is any favorite variations of the overhead press, squat, and deadlift, and or do you stick to the basics? Like, do you mix it up, or how does it work for you?
As far as training goes,
Yeah.
so I used to love circus dumbbell.
Okay.
And I don't know what's changed. I think I'm training on a circus dumbbell that I absolutely hate. It doesn't fit my body type.
Okay.
So it's just frustrated me to no end. So I'm going to start training with my old circus dumbbell, see if I can bring back that passion for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, Axel's a great one that I love to do. But, you know, when it comes to training, it's just, you got to cycle through. You got to cycle through them. Hit log for a while, and then when you come back to axle, your axle will be better. Yeah. It might take a workout or two to kind of get back in the groove. But every time I've done that, you know, if my axle's here and I train log for a while, yeah, I come back and do axle, it might start here, but it quickly gets to here. Yeah, yeah. You know, just carries that's over. Just how it works, and vice versa for log. But if we could just do one kind of deadlift in competition, if we could only do one kind, it would be a side handle car deadlift.
You were really good at those.
Nobody can keep up with me. I beat pretty much anybody on a side handle car deadlift.
I've never tried that ever. I mean, there's not a lot of cars in Greece where, you know, they've welded all that shit to the car, so it's very, very new here, very new. I mean, yeah, I was lucky enough to.
Well, so you're probably in the position I was back when I started. Is you got to find a fabricator and then try to explain what the hell you're talking about to him.
Yeah, they don't.
So that he can make it up.
I had a dude here. I don't know if I can find him right now, but yeah, maybe, yeah, probably. So I made a training set for dinning rings, you know, so I can load, have the loading pins and the plates and stuff. And dude, it took me 2 hours to get him to make like a rough made circle. It's just a little bit thinner than the original one, but it is very, very accurate because Jack Shanks' son, sent me the specs. You know, the Scottish guys who drilled the stones, and these guys are fucking legends. So I got the specs from him, and the dude was like, "You want to do what?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to." So there's like 100 kilo. I'm just training. I said, 100 kilo here, and you know maybe 150 just to test it. And he's like, "To test? What do you mean? Why do you need to lift it?" Because he was a person that, you know, old school guy who had no idea why a fucking idiot would eat like that and lift like that. He was like, "Are you all right?" Yeah. So I thought, just make the fucking thing, and I'll pay you for it. And
exactly,
he didn't take anything for him, nothing. I mean, I probably
That's
appealed
cool.
to him like, what a fine middle-aged man. I almost said young man, but that anyway, I kind of failed there, but so let's see. Okay, here comes the next one. If you could travel back in time, what advice would you give to yourself as a beginner in the sport?
So strictly sport related, strongman related, and training related.
Yeah.
I would tell myself, this kind of all gets wrapped into one piece of injury prevention. I would tell myself that you need to do deloads, whether you feel like you need them or not. Don't wait until you need one to take one. Because I train so hard, and I know there's a lot of discussion right now about overtraining and do you actually need deloads. And I would say for most people, they probably don't. A lot of people, most people will never overtrain. Yes. But when you say overtraining is a myth, you're just wrong.
I agree.
Because there are psychopaths like me who will drive themselves into the ground.
Yes.
Because I love it. I love coming up and my eyes bulging and my head throbbing, and I'm not sure if I can make it back on the rack because I can't see it anymore. Yeah. I love that shit. You know, so yeah, I need to every 6 weeks have a deload mandatory. Yeah. And then don't train when you're sore. You know, if you're sore, It's okay to push the workout back or even skip it that week and just carry on.
I get it.
You know, it's when you're pushing through week after week. That second part is especially important for my second half of my career when I've come back, being older. Yeah. You know, I trained like an animal still, and it just it would dig a hole, and then I'd get injured. And I'm not as resilient as I was when I was younger. Either that, or maybe I'm just pushing a little bit more weight. But I think, you know, if you give yourself a scheduled deload of forced, eliminate most of the chances of overtraining. Yeah. You're gonna, you know, you can beat yourself up, but then you take a week off and you've recharged. Then the last thing I would say is, if something feels weird, be very cautious. Don't just blast through anyway. And what I mean by that is, I tore my pec in 2008 on dumbbell inclines. I was using like 70 kilo dumbbells, and both of my pecs felt really weird right up in the attachment. And I was like, that's weird, man. I don't know what's going on. So I had the plan of doing 2 sets of 10. Okay. And because it felt weird, I'm just like, you know what? Let's just do 1 set of 15 and call it good. And then on rep 12, I snapped. Oh, dude. And you can see the hole right there.
Yeah, there's a gap, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I tore half of it off, I guess. And that was completely avoidable because it felt so weird, so wrong. Yeah. It's like, it's okay to back off. It's okay to drop the weight. Yeah. And then when you're lifting, don't be so ballistic that you are losing absolute control of things. Like, don't bounce the weight off your chest. Yes. Don't try and get more momentum. Don't try and, you know, on a Viking press, don't jump so hard and throw yourself up that your shoulders are taking too much force, because that's how I ripped my rotator cuff. You know, it's things like that. Just lifting with control. Be forceful. Yeah. But be forceful within the exact parameters of that range of motion for a given movement. Okay. Don't come outside of it just to maybe get a little bit more force production. It's not worth it.
That's how you tear things. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here comes the next one. You were picking up 480-pound stones in contests 15, 16 years ago. Aside from training with stones, did you do anything else to help you become so prolific at that event?
You know, I mean, just overall body strength, rows, deadlifts, stuff like that. But I think the number one thing is I trained stones every weekend. It was my favorite event, so I trained it all the time.
Exercise specificity at the stones.
Pretty much. So the way that I would do it now is I would probably do 1 week when I'm younger. Yeah. I would do 1 week where I'd go heavy, and then I would do a heavy series. Like, I'd work up to a heavy single and then do a heavy series. And the next week I would do 2 lighter and faster series. And that would be about it.
That's the smartest way to do it. I think it's the base to almost everything when it comes to. I mean, I'm not my training's not as complicated, but I have learned that, you know, you kind of, you know, you're banging your head against the wall this week. You have to be more careful the next week, so you can come back.
Yeah, I was really good at banging my head against the wall.
So you can manage to do it for a long time. Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Don't sacrifice an immediate increase in your ability for long-term, because so if you get an immediate spike because you train really, really hard, you push your body really hard, but then you level out or you injure yourself, versus a very long and steady spike that just keeps going up. You know, that's where Brian Shaw was so successful, because he trained smart and he had very few injuries.
He's very methodical.
Yeah. That's, and a lot of the guys nowadays, everybody's got so much more information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people are learning more about how to periodize, how to plan for strong, how to do a 6-month, macro cycle.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, when we were doing it, nobody knew shit.
Yeah.
We were making it up as we went along.
Dude, we have a couple of fully equipped gyms in Greece right now. Can you imagine that? 2 fully
Really?
equipped. Yeah. We've come a long
Wow.
way. Yeah, it's super new.
Yeah, there was nothing like that
I can imagine.
for the first 10 years
in
of
the
strongman.
States, it has
That's
to be
my...
like 1,000 gyms like fully equipped for strongman. I'm guessing in the States or more, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, anything that's not like an established fitness club, like a Planet Fitness or a 24-hour fitness, anything that's not like those is going to have some kind of strongman equipment. Logs are so common now. Farmers' handles are so common now. It's unbelievable.
Rogue. Thank you, Rogue.
Rogue. They did a great job. They saw there was an opening in the market, and it was there. It was there for anybody to take it. Exactly. And I saw a couple companies, a couple guys who tried to. They tried to. The first one I ever remember was Brute Strength. Okay. And this guy was out of North Dakota. He was trying to do it on his own. He was like trying to sell cheaply made logs and yokes, and you could do like a bundle. But he got overwhelmed with so many orders, he couldn't keep up, and he just gave up. He shut down.
Oh man!
You know, all it took was one person who could put the manufacturing together, and it would just explode. It was ready. It was waiting for it, and Rogue filled that spot.
Okay, moving on. Okay, you've lifted extreme weights consistently for many years. Would you say the sport is more of a mental or physical game?
Well, I mean, there's the obvious physical aspect of it. You know, it's you're having to push yourself physically, you're having to recover, but really, ultimately, the foundation is mental. If you don't have it here, if you can't see it in your subconscious, it will never become real. No. So if you want, like literally, you need to see it before you can be it. And by see it, I mean you need that subconscious creature brain needs to wrap its mind around it before anything else will ever come of it.
I absolutely agree, actually. Let's see. Next one. Well, here's the correction. I'm going to say if you've competed over 100 times, somebody wrote 50 here. I did it. It's my mistake. What drives you to push the envelope? And have your goals changed as a strength athlete now compared to when you started?
Oh, yeah. So everything has changed except for my ultimate goal and result. You know, what drove me in the beginning years was I just wanted to conquer the world. I just wanted to stand on top of that first place podium, and I didn't have anything beyond that. That was the top of the mountain for me. Now, I still want to conquer that first place platform, but that's not the top of the mountain for me, because once I get that kind of notoriety, there's so much more I can do with it. You know, and with my backstory, having been where I've been, I find that people reach out to me and they tell me what's going on in their lives because they've seen what I've been through, so they feel more open, I guess. And if I had to guess, I'd say 1 out of every 3 people you pass on the street is dealing with something really difficult in their life. And I want to be able to show people that it's up to you what happens. It's up to you how far you go in life. It's up to you and deciding not to quit or to give in. You can make anything happen. You can make, you know, like with people in recovery, drug and alcohol recovery. This works for some people, but I don't agree with the mentality. They say I'm a recovering addict. Even if it's been 20 years since they've had a drink or whatever. In my opinion, you're a recovered addict at that point. You've recovered. You've made your recovery. But the idea is, for me, if I still identify as the person with the problem, then I will always be the person with the problem.
There you go. Yeah, I get it.
I want to put that piece behind me. And I'm standing up here now. I'm not going to forget the lessons that I learned, but I'm up here now. And I get it. And some people need to say, they need to humble themselves in the way of, I'm still a recovering addict. This is how I stay straight. If that's what works for you, great. Absolutely do it. Yeah, but for me, you know, it's almost, I'm not going to say easy, but I can, if I ever thought about trying anything that put me in that lifestyle, all I have to do is remember what it was like to live in that lifestyle. And it's like, fuck that, man. Not interested. Not interested. I don't want that pain. I don't want that misery. I don't want anything to do with it. You know, I'm living up here now. I'm out of the muck.
That's awesome, dude.
But that's my biggest goal now, is to kind of show people that just because they've crashed and burned, because they've messed up their lives, because they've done, you know, untold, you know, terrible things, and they want to give up. A lot of people want to commit suicide in that aspect when they're there. But you don't have to give in. And if you don't give in, you don't have to accept mediocrity. This is where a lot of people, I think they screw up. They're just like, I'm so happy to be sober. I'm just so happy to be sober. I'll go to my dead-end job that I hate, but I'm happy to be sober. At least I can keep my head straight. Fuck that.
I agree.
Aspire to be something great. What were your goals? What were your dreams?
Yeah.
They don't have to go away.
Right.
Fight for them. And I'm proof that it can happen. I made it to World's Strongest Man. And then I fell into a pit of despair.
Yeah.
But I made it back to World's Strongest Man. I mean, that's top to top.
It's fucking
going
insane.
Straight out of the depths of hell.
It's insane what you're
doing.
You
know, and it's not like I don't have some superpower mentally. I just kept following what I love to do, my passion, my purpose. Yeah. When you find your purpose, if you go for it, that's all the motivation you need.
Exactly.
If you're living for your purpose, then you can wake up every day. Obviously, some days will be easier than others to stay focused. But when you have a purpose, it's that guiding light in the sky. You know, you can veer off course, but you're still headed in that right direction. It makes all the difference in the world.
I agree 100%. I always told, like my friends, my girl who thinks I'm fucking insane, but that's okay. I'm used to it. That it's true. I get it. I really do. When the kids see me, because I'm the only powerlifter in that gym, dude. Only powerlifter. There's nothing. It's a fitness gym. I have to set like mats down to deadlift. The bars are butter. Like 4 plates are slipping from my fingers. They're just slipping because I gotta use a stretch. Absolutely. There's
no knurling.
Nothing, dude.
Yeah.
They literally look like dried out dog shit. Now you may laugh, but they really do. And anyway, and I always tell them, and they might be thinking, who the fuck do you think that you are? But I always say, I don't want to be alive just to exist. I want to do the best that I can at whatever was it my job. Is it Eddie Hall said it very nicely some years ago. He said everyone is different. You know, people want to be like really good fathers. People want to be good engineers. I set my eyes on doing that, and I thought, damn, that is strong. And it may sound grand, and some people may think, yeah, fuck that. I mean, yeah, we're not. Most of the planet are not Eddie Hall, genetically. You know what I mean? Like we will never do that, but it transfers to everything. It translates to everything. Like no matter what you set your eyes to do, it's you don't have to pick up a 500-pound stone. Just fucking do it. This is what I tell them.
Whatever your 500-pound stone is. Yeah, whatever your 500-pound stone is, do it.
I don't want to be alive just to fucking die. You know what I mean? Honestly, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. Well, see, this people, they ask, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? I don't get why we're here. Well, we're here to experience everything.
Yeah, what the fuck?
We're here to experience. That's why you're born with this full array of emotions.
Yes.
You're meant to feel happiness, joy, sadness, despair. You're meant to feel all these things. Yeah. And then you're meant to make the most out of your life considering all these things. Exactly. That's the whole purpose, in my opinion.
I agree. We agree a lot. Is that good? Probably. Okay, next one. You have totaled over 2,000 pounds in powerlifting, which I'm sure that's elite, right? Obviously. Was it because of strongman that you didn't stick around powerlifting?
So my first ever powerlifting meet, I had done 2 bodybuilding shows in high school.
That's how you started.
And
right?
yeah, and I kind of realized the subjective nature of bodybuilding, and I didn't really like that very much. And then I tried a powerlifting meet next. I was training with a guy at the gym who was into powerlifting. He's actually the one who got me into strongman too later on. But we did this powerlifting meet. We spent all this money, trying to get the appropriate equipment and paying dues and fees. And I'm 19 years old. I didn't have a whole lot of cash at the time.
Right.
But we went to this meet. It was 2.5 hours away, so we had to pay to stay somewhere. And we both bombed out on the squats. First off, I didn't know that you had to wait for calls. I just took my first one out, squatted it, put it back.
Yeah, I get it.
And I had no idea. And then I missed my next 2 attempts. And my friend, he missed his first for some reason. Then he kept moving his foot. When we would come up, he would take a step.
Oh, dude.
Like losing his balance or something. So he kept getting red lighted. So we had no idea what we were doing. We thought that if you missed all 3, you were out of the meet.
Yeah.
That was it. You didn't get to go on. So we left thinking we couldn't do bench or deadlift. So here we are thinking we wasted all this money.
Yeah.
And we had to leave with our tails between our legs. It was like, screw this, man.
Powerlifting sucks.
And then it was actually, about 5 years later, I had been doing strongman. I'd already been to the Worlds 3 times.
Okay.
But in 2007, I broke my back at the Arnold. I herniated a disc at the Arnold.
Man.
And then 3 weeks later, I was training like an idiot. This is one of those times that could have been avoided if I had if I know what I know now. But I caught an axle clean, and it just compressed the vertebrae that was herniated, and it pinched the nerves so bad that I had this feeling of fire down both legs and then around both hips. It was so bad I couldn't walk for like 3 days, and it was so hard to pee. I could not pee.
I understand.
Like I could not get myself to relax. It was. I now realize that's a very bad sign. I did something really bad. But I kept fighting through that year. I kept competing. I competed a couple months later. I actually beat Brian Shaw a couple months later. And that qualified me for nationals. And I went to nationals, and I had to drop out because I just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then a few months after that, I was feeling a little bit better. I went to Worlds that year. I had to qualify late, which put me in a contest the day before Worlds started. It was the World Open, last-minute qualifier, basically. Man. So I won that. Yeah. And then had to compete in the qualifiers for World Championships the next day. But after that, I was in so much pain. I was so frustrated. I took about a month, maybe 3 weeks off, which was an eternity back then.
I get it.
And I just relaxed. And then I started out at a 60-kilo squat for 3 sets of 10.
Okay. Yeah.
And I added 25 or 50 pounds each week, so 23 kilos each week.
Yeah.
For 3 sets of 10 to 12 until I got up, maybe 300 pounds, like 140 kilos.
Yeah.
And then I started to feel pretty good. So I started to kind of add weights quickly. Yeah. And I thought at that point, I would train for a powerlifting meet. And I had 6 weeks to prepare. I had my squat suit. I had a bench shirt. I was doing equipped lifting.
Yeah.
And that was the only time that I first time I followed a structured week by week. That was like the periodization program. Yeah. And it worked really well. Like my squat went up. I got 350 kilos almost. 340 or 345.
Yeah. 750 was it? 740? I can't remember.
751,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And then I hit a 506 bench, but it was my fourth attempt.
Okay.
And I took the fourth attempt because the powerlifting meet that I was supposed to do got canceled.
Okay. Oh,
so I had my friend who was the IPF world champion. I had him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
They came out and judged me. We just put on a mock meet. Okay. So this wasn't an official meet, but it was judged by some official judges. So I counted as a meet.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, I wasn't really trying to qualify or do anything. So, and then I finally broke 800 pounds on the deadlift at that meet. That was my first time ever pulling over 800. I had missed it 11 times before that. I'd gotten it to the bottom of my knee 11 different times. Oh. And I finally crushed it at that meet.
Can you imagine?
But it was a lot of fun. But at that point, I was so deep into strongman that it was just my way of kind of building strength, and then I was segueing into strongman.
Kind of having fun before you back to your like true love or true passion or whatever, right?
Yeah. I just I figured it was a great way to kind of let my body heal and rebuild it slowly without throwing the events at it so quickly.
I just I plugged my charger because my phone is complaining.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Next one. What advice would you give a beginner who wants to dive deep in the sport of strongman, compete long term, etc.?
So if this is going to be your passion, if this is going to be your, your driving force, let's say, this is what I tell my athletes. I'm a coach now, so I've got a lot of athletes with this exact question. Initially, I say compete hard and compete often.
Okay.
So in the first 2 years, maybe 3 years, do as many contests as you can. Okay. If they're local, sign up and do it. Absolutely. Because you need the experience.
Yeah.
And there's things that you can only learn in competition.
Absolutely.
Now, whether we peak for that competition is a different story. And usually I'll just peak them two, 3, sometimes 4 times a year. Okay. But usually I'll peak for like 2 or 3 contests. But the rest of them, we just kind of work it in as a training day. That's... And then the other bit of advice that I would say is get a coach. Just get a coach. The money that you invest into coaching is infinitely worth it. It is because it's going to save you from making all those same stupid mistakes that we've all made that held me back. That if I hadn't made, my career could have been completely different.
I get it.
That's if it's a few $100 a month, it's worth it. It's worth it. Especially, get a coach who answers questions. I like to teach my athletes why we do things. So if they have a question, I love to go into why.
Absolutely.
There are some coaches who don't. There's some coaches who don't want to divulge their information. They don't want to share their thoughts. Either that or they just don't want to take the time to. I say ditch those guys. Get the ones who will teach you why you're doing what you're doing. And then after a year, you could probably do it on your own if you paid attention. Yeah. So, it's worth it. It's a few $100 a month. It's absolutely worth every penny.
Yeah. They're going to save themselves from, you guys heard a lot of biceps. I know Strongman's got a lot of bicep stuff going on. And neck injuries. And
yeah.
That is complete detachment, isn't it? That tore off.
Yeah,
the bone,
I had it
right?
reattached. I had to have surgery on that one.
Thank you for that anatomy lesson, because that's exactly where he binds too. Thank you. That was nice, dude. See where? I got it. All right.
Somebody told me once that you're not a real strong man until you've had a bicep surgery.
Do you agree?
That's kind of it was a joke, but it's like that's how common it is. It's like you're not a real strong man until you've had to reattach a bicep.
I'm happy I never did strongman that seriously. I got enough problems. Last thing I would need would be a torn bicep, honestly. I got a lot of problems.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I feel you there.
I paid my dues spinally, if that even is a word. I've paid my dues there. I got some other issues. We can talk about
fair enough.
So, okay, next one is, as a coach, and we're kind of almost done. As a coach, what are the things that make a good client? Who makes the cut and who doesn't?
Okay, so this is a good one. A client who actually follows the program that you've written,
yeah,
and gives you feedback. So I have this thing. It's a training recap, a weekly training recap. I send it to them, and I want them to fill it out every week. I need to know what this week's weights were, and then last week's weights, and then which week of the program we're on, so I can keep straight in my head. Right. But then I want to know, how did the exercises feel? How hard do you think you pushed on them? You know, did you have another rep? Did you not? What was your recovery like this week? Were you eating enough? Did you get all your food in? Did you get all your sleep in? Yeah. I need to know what's going on so we can push that first one even harder. Like, we can push the training harder if we have all these other things in place. Yeah. It's the guys who, because I do a phone call, depending on which program we do, every 2 weeks or every fourth week. And I'll spend half an hour talking to some guys, and like, we can get really deep. We can get really deep. We're talking about emotional things. We're talking about lifestyle choices. And then I see them making the same mistakes or the same lack of progress. And I'm like, I know you're not doing any of what we talked about. And it really irritates me because it's wasting my time. Yeah, absolutely. I put a lot of effort into those calls. I put a lot of thought into those calls. And if you're not taking it seriously and taking notes and implementing these things, then what the hell are we doing? You know, it's frustrating.
You know how it works. You've been there. You failed time and time again. You overcame, and then you get these dudes who are like, yeah, well, because I train people online as well. I'm certified from Westside Barbell since 2016. And a lot of the guys, dude, I swear to you, last year, I think I wrote, because my programs, dude, I swear it's like 9-10 pages if you print them out. Powerlifting, 12 weeks, whatever. What if it's a basic fitness? I want to bring my bench, because they all want to bring their fuck you. What about the squat? Honestly, and the deadlift. I mean, I love the deadlift. But anyway, just with a bench, fine. That's easy for me, right? I mean, if you're doing the whole thing, bench is fucking easy. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I had to send him every Monday. How did it go? I'm like, come on, just text me, dude. You're the one that paid for it. Yeah. You know? And he only paid for the program. I'm the one bugging him. They're not texting, dude. How did it feel? Like you said, you have to know how they felt. Like, that was super hard, or, because you're not there with them all the time. And then they're like, yeah. Didn't I text you? I'm like, oh, come on now, dude. If you don't care, how how do you expect me to?
That's exactly it, man. It's when I'm training somebody in person, when I'm there, I can see their strain, I can see their struggle, and then sometimes I'll get the videos and I can see if they're straining in their videos. But if you don't have that key information, then you can't program. Ideally, you can't program to the best of your ability. I need all that information, because I need to know what level I want you to push for how many sets, how many reps with this. And then God forbid, something's not working. Oh, my deadlift is going down. It's like, okay, well, let's get to the bottom of this. Now I really need every detail. It's like, why? Are you eating enough? Are you sleeping enough? Are you training? Or are you missing reps that you're not telling me about?
Skipping are you accessories or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not telling me, like, oh man, I'm just not feeling recovered from workout to workout, but I train anyway. Well, no wonder your deadlift's going down. You're not fucking. If you keep digging a hole and you don't fill it all the way back up, you keep digging deeper. We're getting a deficit. So yeah, that's. That's where I'm at with coaching.
It's absolute babysitting, for real. It's absolute babysitting, dude. For real, though.
Yeah, well, luckily I've got a lot of really good clients right now. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that I have to pry too much information out of. There's one or two that I've started implementing some new things. Like, we're trying to do morning, nighttime routines, different things. And I'm trying to get him to give me more information. Like, are you checking these things off? Yeah. And I've not gotten the information that I want just yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to sink in, and I think he's starting to realize, like, hey, if I don't tell him, then he can't help me.
Absolutely. It's to their best fucking interest anyway. If they don't care, how can you?
Exactly.
You're only gonna end up being annoying because they don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Okay, same question, but now it's regarding training partners. Who are you? What are you looking for in people who would wish to train with you? Somebody said, "Hey, I want to train with you." What does Travis Ortmayer need from them?
So I've had to train a lot of training partners over the years, and my ideal training partner is somebody who could program the whole workout and me not have to do anything. Because I still usually do the programming anyway. Yeah. It's always kind of what I'm wanting to do is what we do. But I want somebody who can offer feedback on, hey, maybe we should try this week. Hey, that deadlift looked like you had to grind a little too much. You probably need to just not do the next set. Or that was ridiculously easy. Yeah. Maybe we try another rep or another set. When to push, when to hold back. And there's somebody who's always positive and there, ready to do the next set. I don't mind talking between. I kind of like chatting with my training partners. I like having fun. We laugh. Yeah. But then I like when we can shut it off and go. And I've had this one training partner in particular. He's a lot like me in his ability to just flip the switch. Yeah. And I love that. I love crazy. Crazy when they can just we're going from bullshitting and laughing and then he's like okay and he starts you can see like the transformation happening the demon comes out and he's starting to drool and he's psyching himself up and then I fucking love that because then it makes me want to do it. It's we got all this adrenaline just going crazy now. Absolutely. And that's the ideal workout.
You could get into the mode where you I guess knowingly that you're getting into it, like I have to make myself prove to myself and them because they're here for me as well as much as I am there for them. Much like you said, I have my girlfriend says like, how do you go? I'm because I'm a joker. I like the joker. I'm a fucking clown actually. When sometimes I'm just endless, and then literally 3 seconds before I get under the bar or I lay down the bench, I'm just smacking my face and I'm punching myself. And I headbutted the Smith machine a few weeks ago. It was seriously. I swear to you, because she's filming for YouTube. And I don't remember what I was doing. I cannot remember. Probably from all the hits from,
Probably.
And I'm wrapping my belt, and I seriously, now I'm making this up, because she was there, and I go, gap, and it was empty, obviously. The Smith machine is those Gym 80 old German equipment. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's very European. But it's pretty heavy, and it's about 167 kg, I think, because the dude's got the booklet so we can see how much the equipment weighs. And it's not screwed to the ground. It's not bolted, I guess. So I go whap, and it kind of the front side, which is the leg, so it goes. And I'm like, oh, so I turn around like, oh fuck, my head hurts. It's like it just fucking headbutted and I'm like, oh, did I? It's like, oh, okay. I need to be checked at times.
That's good shit, man. Turn it on, turn it off. Yeah.
Isn't it easy though? After all these years, you can fucking go on like in. That's it. This one motion, I'm done. I'm ready to go. I don't need to pace. I do sometimes, but I don't need. I've used to have people smack me. I'm like, you gotta hit me. I can't do that. I can't. I've been smacked in the back, dude. My God, by some really strong people. There are videos where I competed in 22. I actually got after many years of my deadlift went down. All my lifts went down because of I had deterioration in 3 discs in my lumbar spine from like manual labor. I guess lifting didn't help much, but I had a lot of because I was cutting fish in factories and I was side bent a lot, like many hours a day, right? So yeah, it's actually in the book in the beginning, and it took me fucking years to beat my numbers from 2015 to then start getting PRs, and
I read this. I read this in the
yes,
book that you sent me, right?
so
Yeah, I
fucking,
read that.
and so it's you get to a point where you're just not phased. You know what I mean? It's this is what I said earlier about the people, and I didn't mean to sound like an elitist prick, but they don't understand it. They don't get it. Like
Yeah.
we need this. I need to get this fucking 5 pound PR. I need it. So anyway,
Yeah.
so my
Yeah.
guy Manos, he's about. Are you 6'4", 6'3"? What are you 6'4"?
6'4", 6'3". I was 6'4" when I started strongman, but I feel like I'm a little shorter
Okay,
now.
yeah, a little bit.
So
Yeah, okay. So
makes sense.
he's about your size, and he's one. He's got 335, 340 pounds, and he's big and strong. And I said, you gotta hit me in the back because it's the end of the contest. It's my last deadlift, and I pulled like 262.5 for like a master. It's just above class 1, I think, right under elite. I mean, it's not a lot of weight, but considering all the fucking shit I had to eat and get through, I'm like, it's a lot of weight for me.
Yeah.
And I said, you gotta hit me. So in the video, before I show up on camera here, whap, he hit me so hard, dude. Yeah. My back looked like raw steak for a couple of weeks. I have never been slapped that hard in my life.
The outline of the fingerprints.
Yes, and he's got big hands, and I had two red marks on my back generally for 10 days. He killed me, but it was easy because I was shaking. I was like, wow, you almost killed me. You can see me kind of rushing.
After that,
I kind of rushed to the, like, oh shit, I almost. And then I looked at it, I was like, yeah, okay, that was easy. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, not everybody. I mean, for instance, he doesn't like that. Not at all. He's like, leave me alone.
Oh yeah. There's some people that don't like it at all. You just gotta look. You gotta find what works for them. You gotta find what works for them. Like my psycho training partner, he doesn't like to be smacked because it throws him out of his group. But
okay, I get it.
He can sit there and pace, and he'll work himself up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me, I like trap slaps. If I think about it, I start getting goosebumps just thinking about getting trap slaps.
It pisses me off so much that I just take it out on the lift. That's why I do it. I do it because I enjoy getting fucking slapped by 350-pound humans, but it's yeah. Anyway, all right. Next one. Name some of the best training partners you ever had. Who was the most intense besides yourself?
So the best training partner that I probably ever had was my dad. We trained together for so long.
Okay.
And he was one of the guys that I had to coach on how to coach me, and we did really well for a long time. Yeah. Then my other good training partners, I've had a few over the years. In high school, I had a training partner named Phil. Okay. He was a little bit younger than me, but we trained 4 or 5 times a week, every week. Week in, week out. We were always in the garage. He was good. He showed up. We got the work done. Then I think the next best training partner I had was a guy named Jim Glassman and John Nicolosi. So they were 2 guys that I met at my second and third strongman competitions. They lived somewhat local to me. One guy lived like 10 minutes down the street. The other lived about 45 minutes away. And so we would rotate. We would do one workout at John's house, one workout at Jim's house.
That's fair.
And then one workout at the unit where we had our equipment stored. So we would go to each person's location each week. That's awesome, actually. And Jim had been a pro strongman before, and he took some time off, built his career up, and he was coming back when I was coming up.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys that ended up being an alternate to World's Strongest Man. So he was strong. He's the person who showed me how to train strongman. Yeah. How to do the workouts, how to implement the programming and all of that. And then he pushed me a long time. Jim is responsible for me being so good at Atlas stones. Because of him, I was able to change how Atlas stones were done. It was just something simple that he said, because I respected him so much.
Yeah.
When he said what he said, at the moment that he said it, that subconscious thing, it hit right like a lightning bolt to the back of my brain. I was doing Atlas stones, and I had nobody was lifting a 400 at this time. My first set, I got a 225, a 265, so like 100 kilo, 120 kilo, a 150 kilo, and a 180 kilo, 185 kilo. Okay. Nobody was lifting the 185 at that time. Mm-hmm. So I'm loading the stones. I load the first three, and then I start to step back and like do my tacky like I've seen everybody do before a big stone. And he just said something so simple. He says, "Don't think, just do it." And I didn't react. I didn't think. I just reacted. And so I was like, okay, I bent over, I grabbed the stone, and I put it on the platform. And it was like that lightning bolt went right into the back of my head. And then it was reinforced by me accomplishing this thing that was unheard of at the time. And I realized, like, holy shit, you don't have to stop. You don't have to slow down. Yeah. Like, you just keep going. But at the time, that sounds like, well, duh. But at the time, nobody was doing that with the heaviest stone. I get it, yeah. Especially at 400 pounds. Yeah. And so when I started competing, people watched me load stones, and they're like, what the hell is this guy doing? Where did that come from? And that was it, man. That was just because of that one little statement from the right person at the right time with the right reinforcement. And this is what I try so hard to replicate with my clients. But you never know when that moment's going to be. Yeah. You want to be there. You want to be able to say the right thing and then them have the right result, because then it's ingrained. It's imprinted. And now they think they're the best at it. And when you truly believe, not just think, but when you believe that you're the best at something, oh my God, your potential is limitless. Yeah, absolutely. And it's something I've tried to reinforce within myself so many times, but it's so to get it past like here. Like the understanding is here. Yes, I'm the best. I know I can. Yeah. But when you feel it here, this is when it becomes something powerful. I agree. And it's still something I'm working on, but I will figure the trick out.
It's always a work in progress. For as long as you're training, you wish to progress. We're always I was thinking while you were talking, I'm a good listener. I also build like images. When people talk, I'm thinking what you're describing. So if you see me going like that, I'm not giving a fuck. I'm actually like, okay, fuck, okay. So there's a saying that essentially says, he who teaches kind of like should always be a student at the same time. That's a Greek, Greeks have a fucking million years old sayings and all that shit. So and I agree. When you said, because you heard him. And there are times, because I train with my girl, she's been training with me for like a year and a half. And so many times, I'm just adding to the conversation, obviously. And I'll say, how did that look? She's like, you're asking me how that looked. And I said, well, yes, because I've been breaking her balls about technique. She knows more about strongman and powerlifting than all these fucking assholes in there. She knows more about them. She does.
That's awesome.
I swear.
That's awesome.
Yap, just endless. And we're watching videos about Alexeyev and Pizarenko, and it's like, she's like, then I come back from work and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, she's watching lifting. Good. And it's always, and I'm also exploiting the emotions. I'm like, hey, I don't have a lot of friends, which is a lie. Who am I gonna talk to about that stuff if not you? So she's like, oh, that's so sweet. So I'm like, yeah, that worked.
There you go. There you go. That's good. That's
she's
smart.
Listening. No pasta and mincemeat for me tonight, I think. But all right, let's see. Okay, this is a good one. Name some of your favorite strongmen. Any other athletes you're a fan of in powerlifting or any other sport?
Well, I think the guy that I've probably admired the most was Misha Kuklayev. Just like we talked about earlier, disgustingly talented in every arena. That's why I named my son after him. I admire that guy so much. But the other guys that I'm really impressed with, my favorite rivalry was with Misha, but other than Misha was Derek Poundstone. Derek and I always brought out the best in each other. We always, because we knew neither guy was going to let the other one win.
Yeah.
In a perfect example of what I mean, Mohegan Sun was another one, but at America's Strongest Man 2009, by the second day, after like the first event, we had 4 events both days, but after the first event, the second day, I think he and I were so far in the lead that all we had to do was like place top 10 in the next 3 events to win. I get it. But we kept destroying each other. We just kept like, I'm not going to let you win. I'm not going to let you win. And we, by the last event, going into the last event, he was 25 points in the lead, and I was just a couple points behind him, or 2 points behind, maybe 1 point behind him. And then I win the stones overall, and he finishes like a half second to a second behind me. That's how hard we were pushing. Yeah. We didn't have to do the last 2 events, but we still did, still won it.
That's awesome. That's something to remember for sure, right? That's a memory right there.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for Derek. It's a mutual respect. We're pretty good friends.
I'd like to get a hold of him eventually.
But some of the other, what's that?
I would like to get a hold of him eventually. He's somebody who seems like just a good person. You know what I mean? He's, I like to follow. Yeah. In quotes, I'm not a stalker, but the people. That's the people that I aspire to, to be like.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's very introspective, too. He'd give you a lot of good insight into a lot of the things that we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
But some of the other guys that I really respect, I respect the guys who can get to the top and then stay there, like Zydrunas. Zydrunas, Brian Shaw, they've stayed there. They've gone to the top and they've stayed there for so long. I think that's really impressive to be that consistent for that long.
Yeah, Z is. I mean, I'm speechless looking at his record. Fucking what? 108 records? What is he? What the hell? You know what's?
Oh yeah, he's done 300 to 350 contests or something like that. 300 shows. But there's nobody that will come close to him for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's not gonna.
There's just nobody.
You know what always got me with the guy is. Because he was, when he was bulking, he was, well, you can't say fat because the dude had probably like 250 pounds of muscle, but not maybe more. But he had the huge gut, all the body fat, and he was still moving fast. And I was thinking, because to the newbie or the person who's not into that stuff, they're gonna think this guy beat these guys. How was he moving at
He was still fast.
Wasn't he competitive like 380, 375 or body weight? No, more than that, right?
He said 375. I think he was over 400.
He was.
I think he was over 400. Even when he was like trimmer and faster.
Oh,
the biggest I ever saw him was in December of 2010. He was probably close to 200 kilos.
I bet he was. Yeah. When his head looked
maybe 195. Right? He was huge. There's a picture of him wearing a gray Dream World, because we were at Dream World in Australia. He's wearing that gray shirt, and his gut is huge, and it just is massive.
Yeah.
But when it came to Worlds, he always trimmed down, and he was faster. He's strong. He was just light on his feet for such a big guy.
I think he might be. I'm not a strongman expert. I guess I'm a big fan, but he might be like statistically the best strongman that ever lived. Might be. I don't know if I'm.
Oh yeah. Yes.
If I'm going 100% too far without doubt. It's just fucking insane.
He's got eight Arnold Classics.
I mean, seriously.
I would say 6 World's Strongest Man wins, but 2 of those were with IMSA.
Yeah.
And then
that's
a host of world records.
When you guys came in, he
saw the writing on the wall in 2009. He saw the writing on the wall. Yeah.
He evaporated. What happened? I admire him. He was a specimen, in his own right. He was amazing. But I think
changed the game. He changed the game with speed.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You remember what he looked like? One of those pictures when he's standing like that. I'm like, fucking Dorian. Yeah, I thought it was. What is he? He looked amazing. Just DNA.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, I remember riding with him on the bus in 2009. We were on our way to some event site or something.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him. He's sitting in the seat in front of me. And he's telling me how he didn't really train for this contest. He tore his bicep a couple months before, and he didn't really train very hard.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not trained for these. I'm not trained for these. And I look at his arm. His arm is like, it's just massive. And I looked at him. I poked it. I said, yeah, you didn't train for this. You're full of shit, Marius. Like, so you're not fooling anybody.
No.
Yeah, but I think that's just what he told himself because he knew he wasn't going to win it that year.
And then Z came in, you came in, Brian came in. They had a great rivalry, Brian and Z. I mean, that's one for the ages. For
yeah.
Sure. Just amazing
yeah.
time to be able to witness all that stuff. I'm lucky I was a fan of the sport because so these moments where you're thinking you're probably not gonna see that shit not for a long time. We still haven't. Imagine that after all these years.
I think it'll take. The only person I could think that might have the chance to beat Z's record, it would be Bubba Pritchett, or Max Hall, Eddie Hall's son.
Yeah.
Just because they can start at such a young age. Big Z started at 16 and started winning. That's how he's got 300 contests under his belt.
God, yeah.
But people don't compete. They don't compete nowadays like we did back in the early 2000s. And, I did upwards of 20 competitions a year after year. And guys they're like, oh, man, I did 7 competitions this year. I'm so tired. I'm like, 7?
Yeah.
Like, that's 3 months work for me. You're a quarter of the way there, man. Keep going. Like, wait a second.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, honestly. Let's see.
It's probably a better idea to do it the way they're doing nowadays because what I was doing burned me out. It fried my nervous system.
Well, you're essentially maxing out whether it's a moving event or a static event. You're just maxing out whether it's cardio or whatever. So how are you gonna be recovering?
Oh yeah.
And it's not just that. This is what I always thought because I never competed that seriously due to my back and stuff. But when you're competing every 2 to 3 weeks, when's your peaking phase through your training? You're not gonna be able to. You're not going to be like, oh, I did amazing. It's gonna go well. It's like, oh, I just managed to catch my breath. Moving on, and you had to travel a lot. You guys had to travel a lot too, which is
travel over to Europe, travel to Australia, travel to Africa. I told you about the time I did 5 shows back to back. Well, that was one in America, one overseas, one back in America, one overseas. And I remember at this 4th one, I was at the airport trying to figure out which country I was in because I just landed.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where I was supposed to go, and I started listening to the languages. And I heard, French, German, I heard some Spanish, I heard another language like Russian. And I was like, I couldn't figure out what country I was in.
Yeah.
And then it finally dawns on me, I was in Switzerland, which has like 4 main languages.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But the fact that I couldn't remember what country I was in probably said enough about, hey, maybe slow down. Maybe take a break.
Rest.
And then from there, I went to Mohegan Sun, and that's when I competed at Mohegan Sun and took second between Derek and Brian Shaw.
Can you imagine, though, had you guys, if you had more time, even a few days, which is not enough, it's bullshit, but I'm just saying,
So there was a couple contests, and I learned the lesson, but I never implemented it. Yeah. I had time before the Arnold Classic in both 2010 and 2011. And 2010 was the best condition I had ever been in, probably for any show. I was fit, I was strong, I was healthy, I felt good, and I put together an actual peaking program. So I wasn't going balls out every week. I'm going to hit this week for this many reps, then I'm going to build on that, then I'm going to build on that, and I'm not going to wear myself out. And it worked like a freaking charm. Because I hit a 415 axle at the Arnold in 2010. Almost got a 430. I was just like a couple inches from getting the 430 axle up. And I felt like a tank. I know for a fact. I know if I had been in that condition
yeah.
at 2010 World's Strongest Man, same year, just a few months, 6 months later,
Yeah.
if I had been in that same shape, there's no doubt in my mind I would have won that contest.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. I just let myself go a little bit after that contest.
Mm.
I let myself not train very hard. I kind of was lazy through May and June. And then I started picking up for America's Strongest Man, which I believe was in July. And I had 4 weeks to train for it. So I won that America's Strongest Man with 4 weeks of training.
Can you imagine?
And the reason being, I was taking too many painkillers at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what screwed me up. I just got lost to that and let that kind of take over my life. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have lost as much weight. And I don't think I'd have broken my ankle because I wouldn't have been as lean.
Yeah.
I think I'd have been fine. And if I had that same strength, dude, it would have been over. That world's would have been mine. 100%. But, shoulda, woulda, coulda. All I can do is try and
it's a lot of work.
Implement those lessons now.
Oh, let's see. Almost done. How are you doing, by the way? Still with us?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I still got a little bit of my matcha here.
Okay. Would you care to share your current diet and supplement intake? How many calories per day, etc.?
You know what? I don't really count my calories. The way that I do my diet now is portion size.
I get it.
So I'll do like 8 ounces of meat or 7 eggs and a cup of egg whites. And then I'll do that for, I haven't been great about it since the surgery, but I'm starting to get better. I should be doing 6 meals a day like that.
Yeah.
And then fats and carbs. So I'll do a couple tablespoons of fats every meal. And then my meals around my workout, I'll do like a cup to 2 cups of carbs, like rice or potatoes or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll do another portion right after my workout. But the rest of the day would be fats. So if I had to guess, it'd be around 6,000 calories a day.
6,000. That's a lot of food.
Yeah. Yeah, all whole food. I mean, I have my post-workout shake, but that's about it. I do supplements, but it's just based around my workout. So, I'll take the pre-workout stuff.
Yeah.
I work with a company called Titan Nutrition. And for anybody watching, there's a link on my Instagram bio for 20% off. It's a pretty good deal.
Okay.
But I take creatine every day. And then I'll take pre-workout, sometimes with stimulant, sometimes without stimulant, depending on what I've got going or if I'm trying to stay away from caffeine for a while, if I want to ramp up.
Yeah.
But then my intro workout, this is something I really like. I'll do essential amino acids, glutamine, and then this stuff called glycofeed. It's kind of a cyclodextrin. You familiar with those sugars?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So I like those combinations.
They're not as
That's my
harmful,
during
right,
workout.
as just plain sugar. Am I correct? Or I'm not really deep into nutrition.
It doesn't spike your blood sugar as much, but it gives you easy, fast energy. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's great for during your workout when you need a quick pickup. I'll drink that during my workout. Then post-workout, I'll have a shake with a piece of fruit. And then omega-3 fish oil. I'll do fish oil as well now.
Connective tissue and stuff.
Those are staples.
Stuff too. Yeah, it's essential.
Yeah.
It's essential. At 42. Okay, here's the last one. Let's see. Okay, if you had never gotten involved in strength sports, what else would you be doing? Any other hobbies or any other activity that you enjoy?
I don't know, man. I've been lifting weights since I was 11 years old.
Okay.
It's so deeply ingrained in me. It's all I've ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then my life during the time when I didn't want to lift weights was very bad.
Yes. Of course.
That's probably another story. So, with sadness and then allowing drugs into your life, I think that's probably why I didn't want to lift weights. It wasn't, I didn't want to lift, so these things took over. I started doing these things, and then my desire to lift kind of fell away. But, you know, I'm not sure, man. I like doing, you know, outdoor stuff, sporty things. I'd probably be into mountain biking now that I live in the mountains.
Okay.
You know, stuff like that would be fun. I was always really good swimmer, so anything mountains or water related.
You throw me in the water, you're gonna lose me. That's it. I can't do it, dude.
Yeah, I can't swim now. I'm too fucking heavy. It sucks to swim now. I'm not gonna lie, man.
I'm out of questions.
All right, man.
So I'm thinking. Oh wait, let me clear that real quick. Sorry. I keep getting those. Fucking. Look at all that shit. Seriously. Just bullshit. It's funny because I killed all the notifications. I think maybe because we're doing the video talk. I don't know why, but maybe I'm just talking now. I don't know.
His Instagram's open.
Oh, fucking Christ. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's endless. But is there anything else you would like to talk about? How did I do?
No, man, really, the way that I like to end any of these, you know, interviews, podcasts is, you know, when I went through what I went through, this is the most important lesson that I learned. And for people who don't know, I fell into, you know, an addiction with painkillers because I was competing so hard, so often. Yeah. And I just kept going. And I think that's why I broke down mentally. I started to fall apart at the seams. I was pushing so hard for so long that I started to crack. And then my ex-wife and I kind of split up. We had a little boy at the time. We had a son. And she ended up taking him to England, where she was from. They moved to England, and I thought that I was supposed to go. She kind of pulled the rug out from under me, and so I really crashed and burned after that. And fell into a world of meth addiction and just pain and sadness. It got so bad, you know, that I thought about ending it. I wanted to commit suicide. I was finished. I wanted to be done. Yeah. But, you know, it was this moment when I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? You know, I put the gun down and I'm like, this ain't it, man. This is not it. There's got to be something. And I started thinking, well, you know, my life is so bad. Everything's so bad. I've lost this. I lost my family. I lost my friends. I lost my career. My house was foreclosed on, so I was losing my house. And I noticed something with my thinking. It was like every time I thought about my life, I had this like checklist of everything that was going wrong. It was like this downward spiral. And like the more I thought about it, the worse things got. Yeah. It's like I momentum. But in that moment, I realized, you know, negative moment. If I can create this negative spiral with my thoughts and actions, I've got to be able to reverse it. I've got to be able to do the opposite, right? It's got to be within my realm of possibility. And so I said, let's find one positive thing, one thing to be grateful for in your life. And it took me a minute. I was looking around my house, and my house was a tweaker house. It was a mess. You know, there wasn't anything to be grateful for. And every corner I looked in was some memory of my son. And I said, okay, bring it in. Let's find something simple, really simple. And so I'm sitting there with my head in my hands. I'm looking down, and I just see my feet, just kind of toes wiggling. And I thought, you know what? I've still got my own 2 feet there. I can be grateful for that, because if I've got my own 2 feet, I don't have to stay in this hellhole. I can get up and I can walk out of here. And then right then, it was like this magic word. It was like the magic key to just unlock this feeling of joy. Started in the pit of my stomach, kind of went up it felt so good. That moment changed my life. I said, this is powerful. Wow. I sat with that. I woke up the next day and I said, I want that feeling again. And so I started trying to think about one more thing to be grateful for. And immediately that negative checklist started going, well, you lost this, you lost that, you lost, pain. I was like, stop. One thing, I got my feet, I got my hands. Yeah. I got my hands and I got my feet. With these hands, my hands are still strong. Yeah. And I can get up and I can go anywhere and I can do anything because I still got my own 2 feet, my own 2 hands. Okay. And that joy came up again. It was like, it's just this reward, this like secret thing that I said the magic words and all of a sudden the spell was unlocked. And I was like, this is it. So every day I tried to find one more thing. On the 3rd day, I found the 3rd thing. On the 4th day, I found a new thing. On the 5th day, I didn't find a new thing to be grateful for. Okay. So I thought, well, hell, I got 4 things from the previous 4 days to be grateful for. And that became my gratitude list.
I get it.
Armed with that list. Every time I got home, I remember seeing my front door. I'd start going through everything that I was unhappy about. And I'd catch myself every time I did that negative spiral. And I said, stop. Go through your list. I have this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. And it would stop that negative momentum and it would start changing my thought process. And it was like walking through deep mud at the time. It was hard. It was work. You have so much negative momentum going one way. It's like trying to reverse the flow of a river. And I had to start making it flow uphill. It took months for this to really kick in, but I was diligent. Every time I thought about something negative, I went through my gratitude list. I took a little rock and I kept it in my pocket. And every time I touched it, like I'd reach in to grab my phone, I'd grab that rock and I would go through my list every single time I saw it. And the more I did it, the more I could feel like that gratitude, that power, that joy coming up. And then it got to the point where I'd reversed the momentum enough that I was feeling true joy in my normal world around me. The only thing that was left was I had to get out of the house that I was in. It would become my prison. But it was already foreclosed on. So I went ahead and said, you know what? This is a prison. I can't get myself out of here. I can't make myself leave. But somebody else is about to. Yeah. So when they came and evicted me, it hurt. It was painful. It was upsetting. Yeah. But in the back of my head, I said, this is freedom. This is freedom. So I used that horrible situation to my advantage. So now I have this gratitude list, and I'm taking bad things, and I'm turning them into good things. That change in the mindset is what changed my life. I got myself out of hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I clawed my way through the dark
by yourself
until I found a shred of light. And then I clawed my way out of it. And I kept doing that gratitude thing. I kept doing it. I still do it. And that's why I do my Monday gratitudes. Because it's important for me to share that lesson. No matter what you're going through. If you can focus on something to be grateful for, it'll change your life.
I agree.
Now you add to that a little bit of purpose. Now you're really on fire. So for me, I have this gratitude list, and I have my mission to show other people what's possible, even after their darkest days. Now I'm on a mission. There's no stopping me now.
There's no doubt about that, dude.
That's what I want to leave people with, man. It's up to you how far you go in life. You maintain gratitude and you find your purpose. There is no limit.
It's I think it's unique because I did watch the podcast with Dave. Wasn't that last year, early 23? I can't remember. With Dave Tate, you did.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't aware of that story. I wasn't aware of all the personal issues that you had, and I thought, Jesus Christ, that's fucking insane. You picked yourself up. I don't know 3 or 4 people who've done that in their life. Picking your own self up, you know what I mean? It's not like somebody went to your door and saved you. you did it. That is remarkable.
Somebody told me that. I guess that's a rare thing, but I don't think it should be rare. I think everybody should realize that they have the power. They don't need.
I agree.
A hand up is great, but you got to take the steps, man. You got to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
You know.
And that's why you said I'm not a recovering alcoholic. I'm recovered because maybe that's because nobody ever came and picked you up. Maybe these people had a lot of people around them. Maybe that made them feel that I'm weak and I need these people around me. I don't know. I'm just.
And they're still relying.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a fair point, man. That's a really fair point. It's a good way of looking at it. I never thought of it that way.
It's tough. I've never had addiction issues, but I can say that a very close family member had heavy heroin addiction and stuff like that. I grew up personally in a pretty, well, I can't say like a bad house, but a lot of family issues, a lot of fighting, a lot of them. And like when I compared myself, I was like that for a long time. And it took me, and I'm not gonna talk about my life story right now, because this is your episode. But I am still learning at 42, nearly 43, that you need to stop being a bitch, essentially, and just find the good things around you. Because I think I grew up in a house where, especially after my mom, she's very pessimistic, and I am naturally a pessimistic person. Like I pulled the 600 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's literally, and I'm not talking down on chicks because I love the sport. I love anybody who's competing. I'm not just saying that for political correctness. I enjoy watching people lift, but what I'm saying that there's chicks half my size, nearly picking 600 pounds these days, right? Which is, I mean, it's fucking amazing, right? And when I picked it up, and she's filming, she was 10 times happier than me. But this is my face when I pulled it, I swear. Nothing.
That's awesome.
You know what I said? Why? Because I said, that is fucking 7 years late, 8 years late, 6 years late. I wasn't pleased with it because I've been injured so many times, and I thought, when you're pulling 530 in 2014, 15, this wasn't supposed to happen in 2024. So I'm trying to go back around saying that is me. Like I need to change that. So when I watched the podcast last year, I thought I was a big fan. I gotta fucking reach out. I gotta find this guy. I texted you in 221, wasn't it, through Instagram? I'm a big fan. That is 3 years.
I think it was, but yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I didn't see it.
I can't believe you responded. I swear, I'm not a religious person. I really am not. But I think that was not accidental. I don't think so. I'm not.
Oh, I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I thought, fuck, he responded. I'm just gonna bust his balls now. I'm sorry, I'm relentless. My texts are like this big, and I'm thinking, he doesn't know who you are. Maybe it's a little bit freaky. I'll probably chill. But honestly, what you did was insane. Most people wouldn't come back from that. They wouldn't. Most people don't. Statistically, they don't recover. Not to that point
That's
either.
sad.
They just like get a job and they like, I'm kind of like 50% of them left. Not only did you make it out, but you're back to where you were, which is fucking like healthy people with millions and sponsors and all the help who never fell off don't make it back 10 fucking 11 years later. They don't. Now, to me, what you did is insane. And I'm like literally 40% of your strength, you know what I mean? Like your levels of strength, whatever you've done. I think I'm at your 40%. And I think that is insane. And I think that the regular person cannot understand. Because you didn't just get out of addiction. You had to do all the shit that you were doing 24 years ago. When did you start? Strongman and like the serious strength training.
22 years ago.
22 years ago. And to climb back up there, not at your prime. That is insane, dude. I don't think anybody's done it. I think Rhino Heindla, I cannot say his name correctly.
Heindla,
yeah. So I think he beat was he the one that he beat your record with I don't know if he went through all that shit. He seems like a great guy.
No,
I'm not talking. We're not trashing.
no, he's
We're not trashing the guy, but
as far as I know, nobody else has ever been where I've been and then come back in any sport.
In life.
So it's really, I really appreciate you saying that, man. That's really cool to hear.
It's absolutely true, because the people who live, and this is when I always, because I get pretty cynical and I have to stop being an asshole, but like they don't understand that I have a job as well, and then when I'm doing my job, I have to eat like a fucking pig because I'm doing about 5,000. I'm not as big as you, obviously, but I try to stay at 295 to 297. I'm not a big person. I am 6'1" if I'm lucky, and I was always a thin, fit guy. In order for me to be fat, and this is what I tell them fat, in quotes.
Gotcha.
I'm not like disgusting, but I'm not lean. And I tell them, in order for me to look like this, I have to eat like a fucking animal. When you're resting, when you're sitting on your sofa, I'm eating. It is very unpleasant. It is not good. I have to. I work in a company like a driver. I guess let's put it this way. And I have to getting in and out of the car in the fucking heat here is like, I don't know. It gets well over 100 Fahrenheit. I think we hit like 40, 45 Celsius. It's like fucking.
Yeah.
It's
like
difficult.
110. Yeah.
Yes, 100, 180. So it's difficult to do the basic stuff. Now add training to it, add life to it. Because you gotta pay your bills. It's not like the money's not raining, not for my city. It's not coming down, for sure.
Right.
This is why I think it's insane, because you have to beat addiction as well. And all that fucks with your mentality, fucks with your psyche. It's not just get up, put your pants on, and go drive the truck. You know what I mean? It's insane what you did. And I truly, truly admire that. I really do. And we're the same age. I don't have an ego. I really don't.
I appreciate that, man.
Well, I appreciate
it means a lot to me. That kind of validates all the work that I've been doing. You have no idea how much I appreciate that.
I'm glad you think so. I think your message needs to be heard. I am super grateful that you did this for me, because I'm a fucking stranger. It's not like you met me 10 years ago. You didn't know who I am. I guess you know now. Yeah, that's right.
That's right, bud.
I'm taking a screenshot. I'm gonna put on a shirt. See, I put on that's my girl's shirt. I mean, I told you I was a clown from the beginning. Like, all my shirts, aside from my work shirts, are torn, like, because they're gym shirts. I don't do anything else. I don't do anything else. So she's like, you cannot look. So I'm gonna put on this one, and it's like this short, and I look like an absolute clown. And she's like, you gotta put on something better. So I put this on. Yeah. Brand product. I don't know if
that's awesome.
I don't know if it's an original. It must be though, but it's her shirt, by the way. So anyway, I think I'm gonna, and I'll tell you why. There's no secret. I think I might be. There's a chance I might be running out of space in my phone. This is something I was super concerned about. I thought, man, is gonna cut us off while he's talking. But if you don't mind, if we continue with the other stuff that we said, we chatted.
Oh yeah, talking about
just a little privately, if you don't. But honestly, just because of the space, I don't want it to. I don't want my phone to die, and I don't want it to end this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's almost 2:00 here. I've got about 15 minutes, and I have to head out. I've got to get to the bank it closes at like 3, so I got to get over there about half hour early.
Okay. So let me. I'm gonna turn off the screen recorder, and then we're gonna say it.
Okay.
Again, thank you very much. This is the first podcast I'm doing, and it means a lot to me, because I don't follow people who they're not trendy douchebags. Am I being mean again? I am being mean, aren't I? Yeah. I'm very straightforward, as you will hopefully find out through our
I appreciate it,
acquaintance.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't follow the people that are trying to, like, I need actions. I follow actions. This is what I tell her all the time. She's younger, so I'm always like, like, honestly, it's actions that define who we are. It's the actions. You can run your mouth all day long, like, and you haven't done shit. To me, it's, you're shit. See, I'm being an asshole. It's easy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a Greek thing. I don't know. But I'm gonna turn off the recorder and we're gonna see our proper goodbyes. So let me just shut this off here real quick.